War is hell, but it's also incredibly fun to think about. What would you do if you had an army at your command? Would you use the tactics of your real-life counterparts, or would you come up with something completely new? Throughout history, there have been many weapons that have completely changed the outcome of wars. Today we will look at 5 ancient weapons that shattered the rules of war. Number 5. The longbow. Bows and arrows are arguably one of the oldest weapons ever created. But during the Middle Ages, one type of bow in particular dominated the battlefield, the longbow. These massive bows were over 6 feet tall and required immense strength to pull. But their range was incredible and they were very accurate. This made them perfect for taking out enemy archers and soldiers before they got too close. One of the most famous uses of the longbow was at the Battle of Agincourt in 1415, when the English longbowmen shot down 10,000 French soldiers for the catapult. If you've ever played the game Clash of Clans, then you'll be familiar with the catapult. These ancient machines were used to hurl objects like rocks and corpses over the walls of enemy cities. They were also used to great effect during the siege of Constantinople in 1453. When the Ottoman Turks used catapults to break down the city gates and bring an end to the Byzantine Empire. 3. The pike. The pike was a long pole weapon that was used by infantry soldiers. It was especially effective in close-quarters combat, such as in the trenches of World War I. The soldiers who wielded them were called pikemen, and they were typically armed with a spear or bayonet as well. Pikemen were often used as a support weapon, providing cover for more powerful frontline troops. But they could also be deadly on their own, as they were able to hold off cavalry charges and even break through enemy lines. Number 2. The sword. Swords are one of the most iconic weapons in history. They've been used by warriors, knights, and even kings, but perhaps no sword is more famous than the katana. The katana was a Japanese sword that was typically about 2 to 3 feet long. It had a curved blade that was very sharp and could easily cut through flesh and bone. Katana were typically used by samurai, and they were highly prized possessions. In fact, each katana was hand-forged by a master swordsmith and took several months to complete. This made them some of the most expensive swords in the world. Fire lance. The fire lance was a Chinese invention that consisted of a long pole with a hollow tube attached to it. The tube was filled with gunpowder, and when the weapon was used, the gunpowder would ignite and shoot out a flame. The fire lance was typically used in conjunction with other weapons, such as swords and shields. It was very effective against enemy soldiers, as well as against enemy fortifications. What do you think of these weapons? Which one would you use if you were a warrior? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe for more videos like this.